How's it going, guys? My name is Brady. Welcome back. Today we got a Pacifico here and a C-stand arm. We're gonna learn how to use the C-stand arm to open the Pacifico. All you gotta do is just set it here and just give it a little. Sponsored by Pacifico. So all things aside, I want to take a second to talk about this shot, this scene that we're living in right now. So essentially it was all kind of inspired off of this shot that I saw from this film, The Neon Demon. And I just saw it when I was scrolling through online and looking through references. And I was like, oh, that looks kind of fun. Maybe I could just play around and do that. So essentially what I want to do in this video is just walk you through how we got to this point here, how we were just playing around, trying things out, setting up lights, moving them, etc., to get the look that we have now. Let's go ahead and dive back to the beginning of the night to when we didn't have anything set up and then work our way back to here. And the camera setup that we're working with is this cute little thing. We got the Sony FX3 here and we've got Surui's full frame lenses actually. I just put them on a second ago and I kind of forgot how much I like them. Then we got this Condor blue cage, which makes it kind of feel like a solid little rig, and then a little V-mount setup with a Hollyland 4K monitor. So that's the camera setup. I don't mind it. So what I'm trying to get here, framing wise, is a little bit of over the shoulder. So a little bit of Alan's shoulder right here, him looking here, you get the mirror right here, and then the wall. So just giving myself like layers of texture. And then I want to incorporate the piano in the background as well. I know I want to frame up first. Before I'm bringing in any lights, I'm going to set up a frame. And I know in this general vicinity is what I'm looking for. So I'm probably going to move this frame around a little bit, but in this general vicinity is what I'm kind of looking for. I just don't know what I want. I might try to throw on, I'm going to throw on the 50. This one might just be a little too tight. It's helpful to just play around with different focal lengths if you're not really sure, or it just kind of gives you other perspectives. So this is a totally different perspective, but it does look nice. It might give me more of that width that I want. Yeah, so for now, we'll keep it there. But damn it, that 100 was so nice. I'm gonna pull it back and swap out.
Hi, it's Editing Brady here. Looking at this now, I think I like the 50 better. I'm not gonna lie, I think the 50 just has a cooler look. So I wish I would have gone with that, but to each their own, I guess. Maybe comment down below which one you like. But if I were to go back and do something differently, I probably would have just left this 50 on here. So anyway, back to the video. Bye.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn off the house lights. It's probably gonna get dark, and I apologize. But right now, I just wanna isolate these lights and start to see what it looks like. A lot of the times what I'll do is turn all of the house lights off and just start to see what natural light or minimal light is starting to do to the image. First thing I wanna do, I wanna separate him from the background because his edge is falling off into darkness. There's just black behind him. I wanna start to bring in some separation. So a lot of the times what I'll do is just take something portable like an MC Pro and I'll start to move it around in the frame. I'll start to see like what looks good, where is gonna give me the separation that I want. And it doesn't look like this is really doing much. I think I want it on this side. Oh, there we go. So now I'm starting to see some sort of rim. Yeah, you start to see this is pulling him out. I'm not gonna use a white daylight or anything like that, but if I were to bring, you can just see that wonders that it's doing right here on his hair, just by bringing something in here. I'm just gonna take this baby stand right here and start to rig out some sort of overhead light because I want it to essentially fall right here. So I'm gonna take this here Avenger arm, which is just like a baby pin arm that we're gonna throw on the stand and just bring out over the top of the frame. Okay, so the light of choice that I'm gonna use here is one of the Aputure Infinibar. The PB6 is what I've got. It's the 2-foot one. I think that it'll be plenty. It gives us the RGB options. So we're just gonna rig that up overhead. Let's see, I don't know what color I want. I might go for maybe a magenta. Okay, so I'm starting to see what it's doing, but I don't necessarily love it. And I don't know if I'm totally sold on the magenta. Maybe in the world of like cooler. Oh, that feels good. I like where this is going. It's helpful a lot of the times to come up with a color palette. So in this instance, I know that magenta works well with blue and it works well with tungsten. So all of these, it's kind of gonna be like a tertiary, I think, is the color combination, but they all work together on a color palette. But now I wanna bring in some sort of push of light right here and kind of on the surrounding wall and maybe the mirror as well. And I'm thinking blue. So conveniently, here in the studio, they've already got these Aputure Nova 300 set up. I don't know if I'll work with them, but I'm gonna just try out to see if I do like the look of this. I'm gonna bring this to like a nice blue, somewhere in this world, and then I'm just gonna spin it around and see if we like it. on Alan in that direction. So what I like what's going on here is we see this blue is giving this kind of like, as far as our reflection, that's kind of what we're lighting. It's giving this upstage wrap of light coming around, but this Nova still is hard. So I'm gonna scratch that, I'm gonna move some things out of the way. I think I'm gonna opt for a softbox. So the fixture I wanna use is the Amaran 300C. It packs a punch, it gives us full color, so we don't need to worry about gels, and it's super small and lightweight. Check this out, it's that new Light Dome 3. Super small packaging, little plug, you know. Just gonna throw this on here. So that's just gonna give me a nice soft light, act like I'm using this as kind of a key light, getting a soft side light coming in. And we set this to about 190-degree hue to give this kind of cool blue, a strong blue feeling. And I don't wanna forget talking about these practicals here. I opted for just taking them really, really dim. If we had them brighter, it was washing out too much of the image, and I was battling off of if I want glow coming from the individual bulbs, or if I don't, and if I were to have the glow super high and bright, his face would have been washed out and we wouldn't get a lot of this blue and magenta color on his face. But it's really a matter of preference, which light source you want to be driving your image. If you want your image to be driven off of these warm tungsten practicals, or if you want to go into this color world with the blue and magenta, it's really completely up to you. Now to continue that on here, I've added in one more light. I may make some changes to it, but I'm pretty happy with where it's at right now. We've got an Aputure Nova P300C, and we've got that again to that same 310 hue. And I want to keep this rim light very gentle, coming across his shoulder and hairline. And also keep in mind that this light is bouncing off of the mirror back onto him as well. So be mindful that when shooting with mirrors, that you're not just affecting this part of your subject, you're really affecting both sides of your subject. So the shot looks pretty darn good right now how it is. He looks pretty well lit. I might massage a few things afterwards, but we always want to light spaces and not just faces. We want to light the entire scene here. And as I'm looking into the mirror, into the background, you can see all of this world is super dark. It's super black. There's a lot of detail back there that we can add some lights to. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue on with this kind of blue and magenta setup that we've got in the background as well, and add a few more lights into the scene. So like I said, we're moving into lighting the space, not just the faces. So the first thing that I wanted to focus on was the piano and the backdrop and everything that you can see in the background through the mirror. So one of these other Novas were sitting around here, so it's an Aputure Nova P300C as well. And I matched it up to kind of that same blue tone as well. So essentially my purpose with this, adding this fixture, was to light up the piano and that back wall. So once I first put it up, it was very bright, and this wall to my left is very, very white. So it's gonna absorb a lot of that light and be way too bright. So I use these barn doors, and you can see if I open these flaps up, everything just gets, it's way too bright. So I wanted to control that, and I'm sure that's bright on camera as well. I wanted to control that and just use these barn doors just to really keep this very narrow area of light on the piano in the background, just keeping that very isolated. But since we're working with mirrors and you can see a lot of the background, it was kind of difficult to find a place to place the stand. It works. So I've got this over here in the corner, casting on the piano kind of from afar, and it's really just acting as giving us some level, some room tone, some of that blue ambience continued into the background. And then that brings me to one other light. Again, we kind of want to light the scene like we are lighting a face, or we kind of want to light the space like we're lighting a face. So I'm still using some of this 3-point lighting foundation. Count that blue one as the fill light or the key light. And then I wanted to add a rim light just to add a little bit more separation. I'm gonna bring out the pinks in the side of this, pinks in the side of the plants. So to do that, I just took this Infinibar. It's another Infinibar PB6. And I set this to the same pink as we see over there kind of in the main scene. And since this has really convenient magnets on it, for the sake of time, I just stuck it straight to a C-stand arm. I wouldn't say that it is the most secure, sturdy, safe way to do it, but I knew nobody was around and it wasn't really going anywhere. So I just slapped it onto the side of the C-stand. Again, kept it kind of low, somewhere around 30%, just to bring up a little level and a little separation of like a rim light on the piano, on the flowers in the background, and just add a little bit more color contrast to the background as you see it in the mirror. Here we have what is called negative fill. It's a black board. I think it's poster board or a V-flat or something like that. But essentially, outside behind here, there's a lot of sunlight spilling into the room, and it was casting and kind of like washing out our image. So we just took this just to keep that sunlight from coming into the frame. You can use a black bed sheet, black t-shirt, black anything. As long as it's black and just absorbing the light that's coming in, you're good to go. And then one change that we made kind of at the end, we had this top bar light here, that other Infinibar. And I was looking at it, I was like, it's just too lit. There's just too many lights coming from different places. It was bouncing around. So I just took it out and realized that if I bring up this Nova, that's gonna be brighter, and then it'll bounce off of the wall and act as that natural fill. So instead of using another light and making it sourcier and brighter, I'm just using the return from this kind of ambient pink rim light off of the wall onto his face, and that's just getting me the level that I want on his face. Doing things like this is helpful. It keeps the sparks moving, it keeps the gears turning, whatever the saying is, keeping you creative. Because a lot of the times I'll kind of create these habits and routines for myself, and I won't do these exercises, or I guess workouts if you want to call them that, of just trying different setups or trying different things in different environments. So I always think it's important to just try things out at home, even if there's not a purpose. I went into this with no purpose at all. I just saw a cool frame that I liked and I was like, hey, I kind of want to do that. But essentially that's all that I got for this video. I hope you enjoyed coming along with us as we just played with things. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.